by having got a taste of the infinite center. The article goes on to say, all the gods together receive as much honey as the mistress of the labyrinth alone. She must have been a creational goddess. Now this article is called The Labyrinth, a Goddess Path. The labyrinth is an ancient symbol of wholeness and the journey through life, uniting the circle and the spiral into a path meandering towards its center. The labyrinth has long been used in prayer and meditation. When you walk a labyrinth, you create a sacred space, a connection to the divine energy. There it is. They're saying that you're one connected with God. A labyrinth represents a journey to the center. They keep using that word of your deepest self and an eventual return to the world with a better understanding of who you are. Labyrinths have been discovered in most ancient cultures, and the earliest ones are presumed to have been used in the worship of the great goddesses. One of the earliest, dating back to 5000 BC in Mesopotamia, was created to honor the great goddess Inanna. Its design, called the classic labyrinth, has 7 circuits or paths that lead to the center. In her midst, the goddess Inanna had to give up a part of her identity as she descended through each of the 7 levels of the underworld. Inanna dies, is reborn, and returns to earth empowered by her journey. Now, here's I want you to get this. I want to bring Scripture into play here, because anytime that you see a reference in the world to a goddess or a sacred feminine or anything like that, you are of course referring to, in the Bible, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. She is a harlot woman. She is a harlot goddess. When they talk about the goddess of fertility, that's what they're referring to. So she is a harlot in every way, and the book of Proverbs refers to her as the strange woman. And so I'm going to bring some Scripture into this to hopefully make a little bit of sense, because I want you to understand. And we look at this image again of a labyrinth. Notice that this is not the straight path that Jesus talked about. This is not the straight. In fact, this is meant to resemble the coiling and twisting of a serpent. So when you walk a labyrinth, you are walking the way, not the way of God, which is a straight path. It is the meandering way of a serpent, and you're meant to get lost in this thing, is what you are. So we're going to bring Scripture in here. Proverbs chapter 5, for the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. And so the Scripture's telling you here that the way that this strange woman is going to lead you, number 1, is leading you to hell. Number 2, lest thou shouldest ponder the path. Notice the word path here. The path of life is the way that Jesus gives us through the cross, and it's a straight line. And he said, lest you ponder that path, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. That's the whole concept of a maze, is I don't know where I'm going. Okay? Proverbs chapter 7. Let not thine heart decline to her ways. Go not astray. Look at it. Look at the language of the Bible. Go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell. Going down, I want you to look at this now, because this is, when I show you this next thing here, you're going to get it. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Now here is the real meaning of the labyrinth. The labyrinth has this whole idea of a labyrinth has always been that this meandering, winding snake road will lead you to what's called the center point. And in the center point, in the chamber of death, the way Proverbs described, is a God hidden, trapped, locked in there. He's half man and he's half beast. So the God that is at the center point of this meandering snake serpent path, the God who is at the center of that is none other than the beast that rises up out of the sea. See, he's in this chamber of death, the way Solomon described in Proverbs. He's in this chamber of death, and her ways are leading to that chamber of death. And when you get there, you're going to discover the God. Now, they talk about the God that is within you. Take a look at this, because the labyrinth, and there are different versions of this. One has 7 stations, the other has 11, and we'll talk about them here in a little bit. But the 7-station labyrinth deals with the number 7, the beast with 7 heads, and all of this stuff. The 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is and 1 is not, and the beast is the 7th, is the 8th, and is of the 7. And so here you have this meandering path with 7 stations, which leads you to the 8th in the center. This is the same concept that is in Kundalini. You have this serpent, you have this thing, this coiled serpent at the base of your spine, locked up. And you need to go down there and unlock it and release it so it can come up and give you illumination. And in this whole Kundalini thing, there are these 7 chakra points that once you reach this, the snake hits the pineal gland, which is the 8th, and it just gives you this illumination. And all of this has to do with DNA, because they keep talking about the God that is within us. All of these proponents of contemplative prayer always are talking about tapping into the God, going into our center, which is where the beast is, and tapping into and finding and invoking the God that is within us. Here is a website called the Labyrinth Resource Group. A major emphasis of the Labyrinth Resource Group since its inception has been to bring the Labyrinth experience to children in Santa Fe. In the 8 elementary schools in which we have organized the building of permanent labyrinths on school grounds. We have worked with the school staff with the classes to introduce them to the Labyrinth and show them how it can be used with children. Children love the Labyrinth immediately as they race to the center and out again. Now, a list down here is the comments of some of the children who've had this Labyrinth experience. Listen to what they said. This is scary. My dog died 2 weeks ago, and I have been very upset. After I walked the Labyrinth, I realized my dog would live in my heart forever. When I walked the Labyrinth, I felt relaxed and comfortable. I felt small, kind of in, not out. It was very peaceful and quiet. I thought about my grandma's death. I decided to think about the good parts of her life rather than her suffering. The Labyrinth helped me find a way to forget about her suffering. One child writes, I figured out a way to talk to people to get their attention. It is better to talk than to grab someone's neck when they're bugging you. One child said, I thought about the lies I have told. I'm really sorry about the lies I have told my friends. One child finally wrote, I thought about my grandpa looking down on me from heaven. I thought about things we used to do and how funny he was. I want to feel happy about myself because I know he is watching me. And all of this as a result of them walking this labyrinth and going to the center and finding the God within. Now, I'm going to bring you to this. They keep using this word center. Inside the labyrinth, you basically have the cardinal directions pointing into the center, which is called the center point or the cross point. Notice how many churches now are referencing themselves as the cross point or the center point. And you have to ask yourself, where did they get that from? Where did that come from? Were they reading the Bible? Were they deep in prayer? And God said, call your church center. But is that what happened? No, that's not what happened. Certain men crept in unawares, Jude said. They crept in unawares. They brought these concepts in at the high levels, let's say in the denominations and the Bible colleges and the seminars, and brought these concepts in through the literature, through the church marketing strategists, and said, rename your church this, rename your church this. Pastors without any discernment whatsoever, just jumping into this stuff, and now all of a sudden, through their name and changed philosophy, they're teaching people, they're teaching church members to find the God that is in the center point. You know, that God that's half man and half bull. You see, that would be Baal. That's exactly who that is. Our churches are turning into houses of Baal. I've been studying